Alright, we're back to another episode of Driveway. We're going to be doing some more work on the engine for the Tiburon. So, since we haven't gotten all the pieces for the clutch yet, we may as well take care of redoing the timing belt, since that's about the time frame that you need to change again. So, let's just get this stuff removed and show you how that works. Okay, luckily for everybody else, this is something that actually can be done still in the car, but since we already have it out, it'd just be kind of dumb to not do it. So, have to remove this tensioner pulley. And then I've already removed all the little bolts around for the plastic covers. So, you can pull this cover off. And that's where you can see the pulleys. Bring you in close here and you can see cracks starting to form on the belt, which is relatively normal, but that pretty much proves that we need to change out the belt. So next is this pulley. We'll have to remove this. You're probably going to want an impact wrench again for this, since any bolt that goes into a rotating assembly, you'll want an impact wrench, just because if you just try to use the muscle approach, you'll keep rotating everything, and that's no good. So after you get that, the pulley should just work itself off. It's not like the old trucks and everything that had the whole keyway and that type of stuff to where you needed a pulley puller or something. Once we got that off and set over there, should be able to take this off. Now you can see the hole works. Alright, now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure the engine is rotated to top dead center, so that way there's a reference point for when we pull the belt off to make sure everything goes back on in the same way. Okay, now that we got that lined up, we'll show you what I'm actually looking at. So over here on the pulley, you're going to see this little dot, and then there's a notch on the valve cover. You line those two up, and then on this side, same notch and a dot. And over here is going to be this pin, and right back here is a little finger for that. So as long as you got all those lined up, you are in time and at top dead center. Alright, now we're going to have to get this mount out of the way. Looks like we got 4 bolts, these 3 here and 1 over there. Alright, next we're probably going to have to loosen up this tensioner. Next is the water pump. Coolant all over the place. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna finish cleaning up the surface with some leftover 800 grit from that lens restorer. All right, that should be pretty well cleaned up. All right, now we got the timing component kit. You can see the part number there. It's from Gates, because when you're doing crap like this that you don't want to do again, probably not worth it to skimp the 30 bucks on a plain label. So I'll leave the belt in the box for now. We don't want to get any junk on it because that can degrade a belt. So it essentially comes with everything you need. It's got the new tensioner and it's pinned up so that way you can install it and then pull the pin and it'll put the tension on. Really good for installation. Then you got your instructions and your gasket. Alright. Gasket on its little standoffs. There we go. All right. Now it's about time for the belt. But this is where we're going to end up having a little bit of fun. All right, now is where we start having some fun. Took the liberty of taking the valve covers off. And so we got some new cams to go in. Okay, these are a Colt cams. They should be a tri-flow design, which pretty much means that there's a difference in lift and duration of each set of valves. So the idea behind it is to create more of a swirl action. People say they work, so who am I to complain? These are set up as a supercharger cam, so should be pretty good. With the impact wrench, it should go pretty quick. They've got a bolt tooth to hang on to it here so it doesn't rotate. Alright, now that we've got those off, all we got to do is remove the caps. Alright, now these guys have a discolored link on each side, which should line up with a arrow. You can see the arrow there. So the dark one lines up with that. Alright, I figured before I get too carried away, I should throw a little assembly lube on here. Alright, we got all the surfaces cleaned up, so now we can put her back together. Gonna put a little RTV on the sharp corners over here, around all the little cam pieces and around these little plugs. Since these little rubber guys don't necessarily seal all that horribly well on the sharp corners. Alright, now we're back at the front. Just lining up our timing marks. Alright, now I'm going to crank it over a couple times here, just to make sure we got everything seated. Now the big reason for this type of engine, why you need to make sure that everything lines up, is you won't have a second chance, because this engine is a interference style engine, which means both the piston and the valves occupy the same space. So as the pistons come up, the valves disappear, and as it goes back down, they come back down. If you got them messed up, then you got your valves down and your pistons will smash right into them. So some lower performance engines are non-interference, which means you can break one of these things and let her fly and it's not going to damage anything. But this one, not so much. So that's why you need to change these out every 60,000 miles or so. All right. Yes, let's shove the rest of the plastic back on. All right. Well, I figured while I had everything out, may as well spiffy some things up here, so.
She's so far away.
Alright, well that's probably going to do it for today. We got quite a bit accomplished. Now we just gotta wait for the rest of the parts so we can get this thing back in the car. So, be sure to subscribe to see more of this, and we will see you guys later.